With the surprise announcement we got today from Arrowhead, it seemed like the end to this nightmare inside Helldivers, but that post was just scratching the surface, as we've now got so much more to dive into. Now, like yesterday, I've thrown this one together between a blitz of an IRL workload, so I apologize up front if it's not as polished as it could be. If you want to help support the channel, you know what to do. If you're on mobile, please swipe right to hype the video. Let's get this thing started. We've got an important update from the Arrowhead development team that will set the baseline for what we're about to discuss throughout this video. It says, Arrowhead Game Studios and Sony Interactive Entertainment are tracking the situation currently unfolding surrounding the Dev D10 challenge, which started on Reddit. Due to the increasing hostility in the community, we need to address it directly with all of you. We do not tolerate threats of violence, harassment, or doxing towards anyone, players, creators, developers, moderators, or our teams in any community spaces. While we understand that the official Helldivers is a community-owned and operated channel, it should be a safe and welcoming place for all people to voice their opinions and frustrations in a productive and respectful way. This kind of toxic behavior is unacceptable and not something we will ever condone. We are continuing to monitor and review this situation internally and with our external partners, but in the meantime, we are asking that our players practice kindness and respect towards one another. Humans are not the enemy, Helldivers. Your fight is elsewhere. Now, for those of you that are not in the know about what's been going down, here's the TLDR. We had a community member who I've been calling Mr. Redacted, who issued a developer challenge to the team at Arrowhead, where he asked them to take on 𝗛𝗆𝗆𝗃 difficulty 10 versus the Terminids. And if they could finish the entire operation, so that's all 3 missions, he would donate $1,000 to the charity of Arrowhead's choice. Mr. Redacted also went the extra step to validate his legitimacy by stating that he would be willing to provide them with his real information, proof of payment to the charity, and he was also willing to sign a legally binding contract. Now, his intentions were to shine a spotlight on the lingering bugs and persisting issues within the game, and those bugs and issues are multiplied the higher the difficulty a player plays on. Now, from the moment I saw this dev challenge, I praised it for being not only good-natured, but also unique. Instead of going on a wall of text tirade laced with profanity and emotion, Mr. Redacted came at this issue from a different angle, and nothing about this came from a place of malice. That's important for you to understand because I know there's a lot of misinformation out there about what happened here. We also saw a completely separate dev challenge hit Reddit issued by Brainstorm and Theory, who would also donate the same $1,000 to the charity of Arrowhead's choice if the devs could beat 𝗛𝗆𝗆𝗃 difficulty 10. But this challenge also included very specific players that had to play this challenge and loadouts. Now from there, a group of us, including 𝗛𝗃𝗆𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃, Background Gaming, and yours truly, took on that diabolical loadout challenge, and we beat it, uploading our footage to YouTube. By the way, links to Odo's video of our completion will be found in the video description and pinned comment. So at this point, there's nothing crazy about any of this, right? It's born from the best of intentions from members of our own community that enjoy playing Helldivers 2. It's also aimed at getting the developers to engage with their own game on difficulty 10 so they can actually experience what we experience while playing on that difficulty, and to help shine a light on some of the inconsistencies and issues that are found in the game. And in the end, it got a lot of community rallied around the idea of donating, me included, because the Helldivers community has always been one that rallies around worthy causes. And from there, this radicalized redditor army lost their damn minds and started attacking anyone that actually supported this idea of a developer challenge. They took to the post, started calling it stupid, and even going so far as to say that, quote, bullying under the guise of charity is still bullying, and that they were ashamed of this community for it. And you know, there's so many more examples of these ultra-aggressive, over-the-top posts you can find on Reddit, which quickly escalated with names like Glazers and Cry Divers getting flung around, along with posts aimed at the challenge itself, stating that it was clearly designed to embarrass the developers. In the end, Mr. Redacted had a horse farm where he volunteers at Doxxed, with his supervisor receiving a message stating that Mr. Redacted was threatening game developers, while death threats were also in there as well. I mean, overall, it's a terrible terrible situation, and I've expressed my remorse multiple times for what this Helldivers superfan has been through. Naturally, after the over-the-top reactions, the doxing, the hate mail, Mr. Redacted said, "I'm out," and he retracted his charity challenge and went offline permanently, and you know, who could blame him for that? Which brings us full circle to that official Arrowhead statement I read at the beginning of all of this, but you know, that's only part of the response here, because shortly after we received the official Arrowhead statement, we also received a full breakdown from the mod team on the studio-run official Helldivers Reddit, titled "Our Statement Regarding Recent Events." Again, links to all of this can be found down in the video description and pinned comment, and I definitely encourage you to go read it all for yourselves. But this moderator statement took the events of the last few days and attempted to break them down from the perspective of those actual Reddit mods. First off, they go on to lay out rule number 1, which is pretty much everything that Reddit is built off of, or at least this subreddit. It says, "Be civil, no insults, racism, toxicity, trolling, rage bait, harassment, inappropriate language, NSFW, which is not safe for work, content, etc. Remember the human and be civil." If you're on Reddit for any length of time, you'll see this rule cited a lot, especially when someone has crossed the line, or, like we've been seeing a lot lately, a thread is locked and or deleted. But there's some important text here that might be used in the future, especially when it comes to the actual dev challenge. And here's what it says, quote, "A user issued a challenge to Arrowhead with the goal of getting them to experience the technical and balancing issues the game suffers from in a typical 𝗛𝗲𝗹𝗶𝘃𝗲𝗿 experience. In exchange, this user, who donates to charity monthly, was willing to allow Arrowhead to choose which charity he should donate to this month. This challenge quickly became viral, not only in the Helldivers Reddit, but in other subreddits and social media. To be clear, Arrowhead never formally acknowledged this challenge, and there has been no indication that they intended to do so. Remember that. Some days later, OP announced that he was retracting his challenge and he had been harassed by anonymous users, contacting his workplace and threatening to publicly dox him. We don't know who these harassers are. We have no way of knowing who they are. Due to the viral spread of this challenge, we also have no way of knowing where these harassers originated from. This reveal led to users tossing insults at each other and accusing entire groups of people of being or supporting the doxers, purely because of their opinions about the game. That section where the Reddit mods say that Arrowhead never formally acknowledged this challenge and there has been no indication that they intended to do so sounds, at least to me, like Arrowhead could potentially use this as a way of refusing to engage with that original dev challenge, despite the fact that the studio's CEO has posted the second Loadout challenge in the official Discord and has actively been asking the community about his assigned build and how he's trying to work his way up to taking on difficulty 10. Now, I'm no lawyer, but the CEO's post, along with his confirmation that he was attempting to get to the point of taking on this dev challenge, sounds like a clear indication that Arrowhead had formally acknowledged the challenge and were at least going to attempt to put themselves in a place to make a try at it. From there, the mod response goes on to state that due to so many people violating rule number 1, and in case you're not familiar with it, it is a broad and far-reaching rule, the comment sections of the original challenge thread were then locked. Reposts started popping up, which were also locked, and from there, according to this mod response, this led to members of the subreddit viewing this as the mods attempting to protect the harassers. More on this in a moment, by the way. And from there, members from another subreddit began brigading the official HD2 subreddit. And for those of you who are not familiar with that term, brigading means to essentially invade another Reddit to cause chaos, and from there, permabans were thrown out left, right, and center, locked threads were everywhere, and in general, it was a total shit show from start to finish. The mods then finish up with a small recap saying that this situation was not the fault of Mr. Redacted and his dev challenge, which I think goes without mention. Insults, harassment, and doxing are to be reported, and posts about this topic are no longer allowed. Also, we get this little bit here that says, you are welcome to donate to charity if you want, but challenges directed towards individuals or Arrowhead are no longer allowed in this subreddit. But wait, you know, me being me, I took this opportunity to dive a little bit deeper into this situation, and I found this post over on the Helldivers Unfiltered Reddit. And whatever you're doing right now, put it down and check this out on your screens, because you're more likely to witness hell freezing over than ever seeing this happen again, where the mods from the official Reddit reached out to the crew from the Unfiltered Reddit to try to unfuck the situation by providing them with information, stats, and statements. This is where we find out that the official Reddit mods were mass banning everything, painting both Arrowhead and their mod team in a seriously bad manner. This post also lays into the official Reddit mod team for how they handled the dev challenge and how they tend to foster and embolden mentalities and behaviors and allow them to grow. If you watched my video last night, that's a point I really hammered, and how the official Reddit and Discord, for that matter, allow for pretty much anything to be said as long as it's pro Helldivers and pro Arrowhead. But if you dissent and you post anything counter to that messaging, you're setting yourself up for a locked thread or just an outright ban from the server. Anyways, now that we've got all of that out of the way, it's time to weigh in with my brutally honest thoughts. First off, I'm going to speak to the mod team, who seem to be woefully underprepared for this situation. And once the fire got out of control, they panicked and went into full permaban mode. Now, as someone that works on intricate and lengthy IRL work projects, I know that we always expect the best, but we prepare for the worst. Meaning, we don't want all hell to break loose, but we prepare for it just in case. And that includes contingencies, resources, and building more runway into our timelines to accommodate for when something does inevitably go wrong. This mod team, though, seems to have none of that, and were then blindsided when they found themselves dealing with a Class 5 hurricane. Listen, Helldivers 2 is not some moderately successful, it's sort of doing okay, sitting in the top 500 on the Steam top sellers charts kind of title. It's sold over 20 million copies worldwide. It is PlayStation's fastest selling game of all time. And also, Arrowhead is no longer a small team of devs nobody really knows about. Overall, this is a generational game that is known everywhere, and it has millions upon millions of players. So why is it still trying to operate a massive subreddit like it has a player base of less than 40,000 players? Also, and this is me just speaking completely off the cuff here, we saw and received in that moderator response 2 mentions of the dev challenge. Once when it said that the studio had not formally recognized it, and the second was when they announced that any further challenges to anyone at Arrowhead had been banned from that space, which I find to be a massive and complete L on their part. All this does is confirm that the Doxxer and all the people posting those hyper-aggressive and hateful comments won. They got their way. They spammed the hate, they created a firestorm, and even though they were completely in the wrong, the Reddit mods' way of dealing with it is to just nuke both sides, just kill the entire thing, instead of doing what they should have done. It's this 𝗛𝗲𝗃𝗍𝗃 mentality that I pointed out last night that has been allowed to grow and fester in the official Reddit, and was actually called out in the Unfiltered Reddit in that post I showed you. And all that has happened is that this extremely vocal minority has won while the rest of us have lost. So while yes, it is great that Arrowhead at least acknowledged the insanity that took place, both their response and that Reddit mod response does nothing to apply a course correction to their servers. The Doxxer can't be located. The radical behavior is still intact on the official Reddit, and as far as I can tell, nothing has been done in the background to root out the repeat toxic offenders, or to get this mod team ready for the next time this thing blows up in their faces. Because like I said last night, after this most recent victory at getting this dev challenge shut down, these maniacs are going to feel even more powerful and emboldened when the next issue rolls around. And if they're doxing and dropping death threats now, who knows what they're going to do next time. Also, and this is coming off the top of my head as we wrap this up, I think it's important to circle back around and once again mention the fact that Arrowhead actually did respond to this. I mean, technically it happened on Reddit, and they could have easily sidestepped the topic and blamed it on some technicality, and they didn't, which is what a lot of other studios would have done. My issues are more with the details, the unpreparedness, and the end net results, both from the innocent and the guilty parties. But here's where I humbly ask for your thoughts and feedback. The mass bans, Arrowhead's responses, the mod breakdown, asshats on Reddit, you know, it's all topics up for discussion. So drop a comment, and as always, let's keep it civil. Remember to hit subscribe and ring the notifications bell to receive my future upload alerts. If you're on mobile, please swipe right to hype the video. A massive and heartfelt thank you goes out to all of our hardcore channel supporters. And until the next one, this is 𝗲𝗲𝗹𝗶𝘃𝗲𝗿𝘀 signing off.